Good morning. Welcome to the second day and the first session of what has already been yesterday a superb set of presentations and, most importantly, very excellent dialogue during the panel discussions. A note of gratitude is owed to the National Cancer Policy Forum staff, its leadership, for all the work that not only has gone into this particular symposium with all of the telecons, but also the execution. So if at the end of the day you say this was worthwhile, give a tip of your hat to all of our colleagues because they're the ones who have earned it. And also now for those who are going to present. Today, in this session entitled Precompetitive Data Sharing and Collaboration to Develop PD-1, PD-L1 Combinations, the emphasis is going to be on those words, pre-competitive data sharing and the phrase and the word collaboration. We heard yesterday of the expansive programs in immuno-oncology, and in particular, those in the checkpoint inhibitors, within the United States, approximately 1,100 clinical trials using those agents, 1,100. China now has 1,400 separate clinical trials ongoing. So there are about 2,500 trials involving checkpoint inhibitors and immuno-oncology agents just in these two countries alone. 6 checkpoint inhibitors, as we know, have been approved in the United States. And we expect that to be, of course, increasing because of the number of de novo molecules that are under development and, of course, the combinations thereof. So the challenges before us, although they are large not only in number but in significance, the challenges really are how can we do it better, faster, for patients to be actually impacted sooner and more effectively, with known and moderated toxicities, recognizing that all of that is extraordinarily important. For the enormous investment of industry is nothing compared to the investment of each patient who invests not only their hope and faith, but very often their lives as subjects of these trials. So if we dedicate not only ourselves to the furtherance of science, it is truly the virtue therein that gives the freedom for patients as it is stipulated and chiseled into this building by Thomas Jefferson. What I'd like to do is to set the scene of an example. And I mean that. Now, if you listen to Marty Murphy, as you're now forced to do, you'd think that the world was filled with only Project Datasphere. It is an example. But I think it's an example that, at least at the present time, is not just functioning, but is productive. But you'll be the deciders of that. Oops. Where do I advance? Up here. There are only 3 different of these operations here. Here we go. So for those of you who are unaware, the Roundtable of CEOs started when the president, the 41st president, George H.W. Bush, founded it in 2001. We claim that 2000 is when we started because it took us 6 months of discussing before we actually could hold the first meeting. And Bob Ingram then was running Glaxo Wellcome, and he was the founding chair. It consists of diversified industries. Many people have a misimpression it's a pharmaceutical-centered, and it's not. It's of many, many different industries, and comprising the CEOs of them, and of course it's nonprofit. Bob Bradway, the chairman of the board of the CEO Roundtable, also has a day job as the one who runs Amgen. Some years after it was founded, in fact, in 2004, it was recognized that amongst all of these chief executive officers, there were a collection of those that represented industry in the life sciences, namely big pharma, biotech, and so forth, a number of other companies as well. And so it was that group of CEOs identified individuals on their staff, their medical directors, heads of research, and so forth, to come together under what then is called the Life Sciences Consortium. It's a task force of the CEO Roundtable. And Chris Wiebacher was the chairman at the time when the CEO Roundtable's Life Sciences Consortium created this entity that sought to actually share cancer clinical trial data. And so it was a project that then became known as Project DataSphere, where the mission was, the original mission that the president gave all of us was to be bold and venturesome. In other words, he didn't want any of these corporate executives to do something trite or trivial. Not that they would in any case, but he made sure of it. But then these fellows, once they formed this task force, the Life Sciences Consortium, said, let's accomplish together what no single company might consider alone. Does that sound like, collaboration? And the answer is yes. And here are examples of them. But very importantly, you'll see in the center, the Institute of Medicine, the FDA, the European Medicines Agency, and a number of others. It's essential from the outset that Project DataSphere has been not just aligned with, but really seeks to be a part of the mission of those agencies. I'm not going to go into this slide, but just say that from 2013, when Project DataSphere first here had its approval in concept by the CEO Roundtable, there's been a number of entities and happenings. Most importantly, I think not only the numbers of patients, 25,000 lives of patient data curated and aggregatable was achieved in early 2015. And then soon thereafter, 2017, we passed the 100,000th patient mark. Although that's important, what really are important are the proof of principles, and those, of course, are most importantly the publications. And I'm not going to go into any of this in great detail because I can't believe I've already passed 7 minutes. But there you go. Patient lives of the present, there are about 130,000. Those patients in comparator arms, you'll see them almost 70,000, almost half and half split to the experimental arm. Number of data sets also from the NCI. Registered researchers, almost 2,000 scientists are in Project DataSphere at any given time. And the number of downloads of data sets now exceeds 12,000. Here are some of the proof of principle, that is the top tier journals, which have accepted and promulgated publications derived entirely from Project DataSphere. An important one was in March of 2017, where Jeff Drazen gave it the proper title, I would submit, Advantages of a Truly Open Access. And that should be italicized because this one is not a gatekeeper. It is truly open access data sharing. And from that has come a number of very important papers. This one from Tito Foho. Here is one on crowdsourcing, also from Lancet Oncology, extremely important paper. Anybody who would like to have references, if you don't already know these, another one from Nature with Atul Boot and so forth. The partnership with the EMA, this just shows you the number of important formal meetings that we've had and continue to have with our EMA, and very importantly, and perhaps most importantly, our FDA. Sean Cozen, a member of this panel, has been a vital leader and inspirer of all this work. What I'd like to end with is just these, well, I should probably have pointed that out, that one of the things that took place was, in terms of adverse events, a very important meeting was held last December where all the companies got together in New Jersey. I characterize that as the families coming together. All the checkpoint inhibitors who have approved checkpoint inhibitors came together, and the topic that was chosen at that workshop was myocarditis, a rare but serious immune-related adverse event that we gathered together in a major publication, of course, emanated from that. Our FDA was absolutely vital to that meeting. But the most important, I think, now looking forward, if you will, the growing edges, is something that Chris, you brought up yesterday, and that is to actually be able to have a comparator arm that could be external. Janet Woodcock calls it the External Comparator Arm Program. And in this case, either way you call it synthetic or external, it's collecting all of the comparator arm data where they are coherent to actually enable the comparator arms of future clinical trials not to require the randomization of patients onto it, but rather having a data set so strong that you would be able to actually refer to it. And the our FDA has requested us to first do it in the small cell lung cancer investigation. We're well underway. And that one hopefully is going to be, will announce its support in about a week. Secondly, images and algorithms. We all know where that's going, and that is to try and reduce, if not eliminate, the need for third-party adjudication with appropriate algorithms. And that major program is also in place. Two people, Monica has been extremely important, but really a moment in memoriam of Dan Sargent, for he early on, years and years ago, recognized this as very significant and became a leader of Project Datasphere, telling all of his colleagues in the cooperative groups why he thinks it was very important. We miss him. And those are some of the people that are involved. So if that is an example of gathering together industry and to an extent academia through the National Cancer Institute and its cooperative trials, we hope that what we'll now be able to hear from and look at doing is really saying what can be done, what are the limits, and very importantly, where are the barriers and how can they be eliminated? All of this also has been reflected of two individuals in the bottom here, and that's Dave Rees and Mace Rothenberg from Amgen and Pfizer, respectively. They are the co-chairs of the Life Sciences Consortium, without which none of this would or could have happened. So we're going to now begin, if we could have the first speaker, who is known to all of us and loved by many of us, and that includes Marty Murphy. Amy Abernathy needs no introduction. If you start, it's going to take almost all of her time. Amy, we're delighted that you're going to lead us off.
Thank you very much, Marty.